If you go to 10 parties in a row and you haven't played, there's some stuff going on. There might be some stuff going on there.
What if they're having a great time and like no one else is as weirdly observant as you are?
Oh, by the way, if like they and their husband come and neither of them play because they just want to be in the vibe, then great.
So that's okay.
But that's not happening. Layla.
Hi, Brian.
Yo, what a week.
I know, dude.
It's been a week. What is today? Today is January 24th.
Friday,
January 24th that we're recording this. And it's a big week because it's been a big week for the country because it's the new president and his administration just took over. And they are, you know what's funny is when we talked about this episode, I was like, I have been avoiding and ignoring this ever since the election was over. I stopped getting 80 text messages a day and I stopped paying attention.
Yeah.
And then this week started coming and I thought it might make sense to pay attention again. And man, they came in swinging.
Yeah, they sure did. And everyone's acting all surprised. And it's like, what the fuck did you guys think was going to happen?
Well, they're surprised because they are drastically more efficient the second time in than they were the first time. I think the first time they were surprised that he won. The second time they had made some plans just in case he did. But I've never seen anyone come in and shake as much up as they did on day one. And we were talking about like some of the more interesting things. It's not a political show. We don't understand this more than a political, like go tune into your political podcast for political news.
We can hardly spell politics, but we're going to do this.
But I can spell it, I think, in Spanish.
He's like, speak for yourself, you dumb bitch.
But they did. It's you can't just ignore that it happened. Like
I know.
Immigration stuff. They went after trans rights.
Yep.
Especially even in like the military.
Yep.
Trans rights. They let people go who were involved in January 6th. There was some wild stuff. Elon Musk was doing fucking Nazi salutes on national television.
What, did you watch that live?
I didn't watch it live. I saw the recording, and what's crazy is I saw the screenshot of it, right? Like you go on Google, you look at news, and you have a screenshot of it, and I thought it was like like a taken out of context symbol. You know, people do gestures.
Right.
Like Gavin Newsom does the whole like hand pound thing, like he's making a pizza, you know? And so I thought it was taken out of context, but then I watched the clip and it was
bad,
insanely intentional.
Bad. They're trying to say that he was like, my heart goes out to you, which I've seen in previous clips of him actually doing, like, oh, heart goes out to you. Like he's done that, but this was intentional and he did it fucking twice.
Right. No, that's not how you say my heart. When my wife goes to work, I don't do that to say my heart goes out to you.
Right.
Could
you imagine?
Like, hey, honey, I'm not even going to do this someday.
No. And that's been my favorite thing to watch on like social media is people being like, if you don't think it was offensive, do it. And everyone's like, well, I'm not going to do it. Why?
Oh, no. By the way, if you're in Germany,
it's
you might get fined to do. Right.
It's illegal.
So it's kind of wild. Like how far they're taking freedom of speech is because my issue with it is that like you have the freedom to say what you want, but I don't have the freedom to like slap somebody when they say something stupid. And I don't like that part because that's still assault and you still get sued for it. And so I like the imbalance is there because you can say something dumb and I can't be like, you know, shut up.
Right.
So that's one of the things I don't like about it. This whole thing.
Has like, if you're going to give me free speech, let me just like light you on fire.
That's what I'm saying. There should be like free reaction, right? But they're also doing some stuff that has been kind of necessary. And, you know, when I thought about how I wasn't paying attention, we weren't paying attention to it. Part of what we said, and Layla and I talk on Wednesdays, you know, sometimes on Sundays. One of the things we said was that like, it is kind of weird, my own emotional state thinking, do I want this person to fail because I didn't vote for them? And so I went home and I thought about it. I was like, man, I want the world to be better. I want the country to be better. And it's this weird emotional state thinking that, man, is there a part of me that wants the US to be worse so that people can point fingers at everyone who voted for him to say, I told you so?
Right.
Even if that means it's getting worse for me too. And that's kind of crazy. Like every time a president gets elected, the other side says, well, usually they say, you know what, people voted, now let's rally around who's here because we really want America to progress.
Right.
And you in general, you don't want a Great Depression. You want the world to be better. You want the country to be better. But that isn't the sentiment I get. I think that most people want them to fail and make the country worse to be right. Like being right is more important.
Is that how you feel now?
No, that's not how I feel.
Okay.
Actually, now I'm gonna be careful because I didn't vote for the guy. I didn't.
Right.
No shame in that. But I don't want them to like fuck the country up.
Right.
I don't want them to make things worse. I would actually rather be wrong and the country get better.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh man, I did get swindled, right?
Right.
Now I don't know if that's gonna happen. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I'm not, like, my jaw didn't move an inch when I saw the types of shit that he was pulling. We kind of expected this. I think it's so funny watching people interview Republicans on the street that are like, why do you vote for him? And they're like, oh, groceries are too expensive, you know? And it's like, okay, cool. Now he's doing all these tariffs. And then you talk to these people on the street being like, okay. And they're like, oh yeah, with the tariffs, we're going to like, and I'm like, you know that means that they're going to raise the prices of the items coming in from those other countries. Like you don't.
Oh, they have no idea.
They have no idea. And then they're all passionate and they're, you know, wearing all their MAGA stuff and like, they're just, you know, head to toe. And they're like, oh, trans people are trying to shove in our face their transness. And I'm like, look at you.
What do you mean?
Like, look, with their MAGA hats and their flags,
Oh,
and they're like, you know, stupid bitches for Trump or whatever the fuck. I'll probably cut that. But like, it's so frustrating.
Is there a t-shirt that says stupid bitches
Stupid
for Trump?
bitches for Trump. I don't know. That'd be pretty funny though. And it's hard because like my family's Republican, you know, and like I'm watching the debate with them and like it was just, it's so uncomfortable. And we haven't spoken about politics or anything since he became president because I'm almost wondering if my parents are like, oh, this is kind of fucked. I'm not sure.
Man, the thing is, like, I don't like what they've done. Some crazy. Some of the stuff they did had to be done. Like something had to be done about immigration. I was talking to a buddy, and the weirdest thing they did about immigration that caused the kerfuffle was birthright.
Oh, right.
And which is like, you know, if you're born in the U.S., you're a U.S. citizen, and people play that loophole all the time. And I think any law that people are abusing the loophole of, you need to make some adjustments to it. I was talking to a friend, and he was saying like there's organized crime rings that bring people in just to have kids in the U.S. So there is that part of it. But another friend of mine is German, born, raised in Germany, not a German citizen. And even he was American. They were living in Germany when they had him there. He was raised there. His first, 10 years of his life, speaks fluent German, not a German citizen. It doesn't work that way. You can't just be German because you were born there. You have to apply, and there's a pathway towards it. So I am kind of a big fan of that, like any kind of system that's being abused. But it's getting kind of wild. I hope that this is it, but I'm smarter than that. I think this is just the first wave.
What do you think about ICE coming in and just fucking going into immigration lawyers' offices and taking all their paperwork and doing all that shit?
Right now it's odd because like you said, your parents are Republican, and usually Republicans are smaller government. This is the exact opposite. This is opposite of that.
This isn't government. This is an oligarchy, which I think is very fascinating because they don't teach us about oligarchy in school.
They don't. They just say Russia's bad. So we're going to see. I don't know how much it's going to impact the play space. I think on social media, it seems like Zuckerberg's in this group too now. And it seems like it'll be easier to say whatever you want. And it is kind of odd that we might have to bleep some words out now. But,
I know. They're going to flag us.
If you say the word
socials.
dick or kink, you can get your video taken down on social. And you're looked at it the same way as someone saying I'm going to go commit genocide, right? And it wasn't working. So I'm glad they're doing something else. So we might be able to get more aggressive with our content, or just say normal stuff that shouldn't have been shamed in the first place.
Right.
So I think that's exciting, but I don't know how, which rights they're going to go after.
Have you seen the bill that they're trying to pass in Mississippi?
What is it?
It's life at erection. And it's a bill they're trying to pass, supposedly, allegedly, that if a man comes and it isn't to get someone pregnant, it's illegal.
I don't think they're going to come after, half of them are swingers and paying escorts anyway. So I don't think they're not going to come after those rights.
Totally.
I'd be shocked.
Can we talk about the drones?
What about the drones?
Have you seen any?
Have I seen any drones? What are you asking me? Like in the outside in the air?
You don't know about the drones?
Tell me about the drones.
Okay. So there's been all these drones in New Jersey, right? Like near the coast, there's been like 1 billion drones, and there's been, government having meetings and talking about like this is real news. Like there are these drones that apparently our government doesn't know where they came from, doesn't know anything about them, which means it's probably them, right? But they're all over my house.
Really? Mm-hmm. So who do you think it is?
I think it's probably our own government or Elon or like something. I mean, I would love to imagine that it's aliens or something like nicer than that administration, but they're everywhere, dude. I'm literally, my husband and I, we go up on our roof every night and we lay there and we just watch these car-sized drones go over our heads.
These car-sized drones?
Yeah.
But you live near military base.
I'm like 45 minutes from one.
Okay. But look, no comment on the drones because I'm not going to comment on something I don't know about. I bet there's a bunch of reasons drones might be in the air. There were like those people in Sonoma that were trying to build their own city. Elon's trying to build his own city in Texas. I know the Chinese fly drones occasionally. I have no idea what's happening.
If it wasn't our own government, they'd shoot it down.
Maybe though, the government is looking out for like potential fire hotspots and doing their job. Maybe
they could have. Then why don't they say that? We'd all be like, "Oh my God, thank you, government."
I don't know. We're gonna have to come back to this drone thing.
Please do, because it freaks me out. It's like every night we'll be like, "Oh, that's a loud one," and we'll go outside and just watch it go over. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that is wild.
So yeah, please do your research and come back.
Come back with the drone thing.
Please, I'd love that.
All right, team. We're gonna look up this drone, and before we continue with the episode, I do want to say that on the last episode, I made some opinions about play parties.
And it was our most controversial episode ever.
I was on my way to Joshua Tree and I was getting phone calls about it. Here's the thing, people. If you haven't watched the episode, I made some comments on people not playing at play parties and how at a certain level, if you're not playing at play parties, just don't go to the play party. I'm not going to retract anything I said because how I felt was how I felt. Here's what I will say though, and this was a good point someone made. Before we started recording the episode last week, I had made a distinction between the types of party I was talking about and the ones I wasn't talking about. And before we started recording, I was saying that parties like, I'll throw some examples out that are in LA, like the Play, Mystery Temple, Lovely Fate. Those are phenomenal places to go if you just want to hang out and feel the vibe. And when people ask us often, like, hey, I want to go to my first play party, where should I go? We will refer them to those places because those are great places to go if you're not sure if you want to play or not. Those are like entertainment businesses that put on events that have performances and things like that. And if you want to go be in the vibe and not play ever, go. I think that those are a phenomenal place for that. What I was specifically referring to was parties where it's a smaller group setting, where plays happening constantly, and where there's a pattern of someone going and not playing over time, that it does become a little distracting to the space. Now, I got some phone calls that were frustrated. I also got some phone calls that were like 100% agreeing and thought I should have gone further with it. So that is what it is. It's a hot take. I host a podcast with Layla. I have opinions. That is part of the job.
And I love that you have opinions. This one's just wrong, but I love that you have them, and thank you for sharing them. If there was going to be a party of 30 people and I was in town and, you and I have been flirting or whatever, and I'm like, I really want to see you tonight. Like, I'd love to like hang out and whatever, but I don't really feel like playing, or I started my period, or I have a little bit of a headache, but like, I'd love to see my peeps. What would you tell me?
I would tell you to come.
What the fuck?
I would tell you to come. I said last week, and I'm saying the same thing today. It's the pattern of it that I was calling out. It wasn't the one-offs. People kept commenting on one-offs. They're like, I've even gone to play parties and not played personally. I've gone, and I said this, I just leave early. I go, I come hang out, and when the play starts happening, I leave. I don't want to be a distraction. I also don't want to I don't have permission to play, so I'm also leaving because I don't want to stumble myself and tempt myself.
Sure.
But if I wanted to go and not play occasionally, that makes sense. It's just 10 or 12 parties in.
You want to know what my husband said?
What do you say?
So we're listening to the episode, and we can cut this if it's too much. We're listening to the episode, and he goes, "Who isn't fucking Brian?"
It's not even about me. That's so funny.
He said, there is a girl that's going to parties that isn't playing that's pissing Brian off.
There isn't. I said it last week. I can't but notice patterns.
I get that. You're a little pattern king for sure. But like,
I have a pattern kink, sure.
you are so observant that at some rate, it's like, why can't you just focus and like be in the moment?
It's a problem. I'm incredibly observant.
Okay, so this sounds like your problem.
It is a pattern that I've noticed, and I'm not the only person who talked about it. I'm just the one who has a podcast who says something about it. Maybe I'll get voice notes from people who feel similarly. And again, look, if you've been to parties and you haven't played, I'm not shaming you.
Yeah, yes.
And people have gone to parties and not played. I'm just saying, if you go on to 10 parties in a row and you haven't played, there's some stuff going on. There might be some stuff going on there.
What if they're having a great time and like no one else is as weirdly observant as you are?
Oh, by the way, if like they and their husband come and neither of them play because they just want to be in the vibe, then great.
So that's okay.
But that's not happening.
Okay, I think that we're on totally different mindsets regarding this. I would be very interested to bring another guest on that, whether it's like that agrees on your side or agrees on, or both. We could bring two people on, one that's kind of with me, one that's kind of with you, because I would like to dive deeper into this. I would say 90% of our comments on socials are like, I agree with Layla, you know, it's whatever. And then you said you're getting phone calls of people being like, finally, someone said it. Are the people that called you and said that, are they all men?
All the people who said that would be men.
Oh, interesting.
And I get it. Like women were like, I don't want the pressure to go to a party and have to play at a party. And I get that. And I said that last week. It was probably before we were rolling. I was like, I think that rule is in place for women. For the most part, men aren't being like, oh, thank God I don't have to play at this party.
Oh, this is something else I wanted to mention. The last 3 parties that my husband and I have gone to together, my husband didn't play at all.
It happens.
He went to vibe.
He
went and he wore his little, his fur coat with nothing else and was like cuddling on the girlies and was just being a safe space for them and had the best time.
And how many parties has he been to where he has played?
I don't know, probably like 50% of them.
Way more. Like he plays more often than he doesn't.
It's 50-50.
And so all I'm saying is, and I'm not going to change my opinion. I hear what you're saying. But all I said was it throws the balance off, and it does.
That's fine. We'll drop it. I just think that you're wrong and you should feel wrong. But that's okay. That's okay. I
Totally
still love
fine.
you. But yeah, I mean, don't you think that's going to make women hear this and know you a little bit paranoid if they're at a party and they see you and they're like, oh, if I'm not playing, Brian's going to judge me?
No, man, because I think everybody's judging everybody all the time, and I don't think they care about much what I say.
I don't think that they are. I'm not judging anyone at parties. I'm not as observant.
Not judging, but like I think people are observing, and like if they don't want to play, they don't have to play. Like no one's going to play because I said this on a podcast. No one's going to play or not play.
But they might see you and go, oh my God, I'm not sucking a dick right now. Brian's going to be like, get the fuck out. Something else that I thought was an interesting point is I think that, and my husband and I actually had our own debate I was telling you about, that he was saying, if there are parties out there that's like, this is a penetration party, right? You're here to get penetrated. You're here to play. You're here to have fun. And if you're not doing it, then you have to go home. You have to go. And I was like,
Are there parties like that?
I don't know.
I doubt it.
I
don't think a party should be like that.
But that's a kink party. That's not a play party. That is a kink party because the kink is everybody's having sex.
Yeah, I think there's parties and then there's like small group gatherings and orgies. And at the smaller ones, most people tend to play. So the reality is like, this isn't, like people are getting, if you're getting upset, it probably isn't even happening that much. And you're probably not the person that this is happening to. You're probably feeling like you're defending some like abstract person, or one day you feel like this might be you. The reality is like, Layla, you go to most parties and you actually do end up playing. You actually do. So does my partner and most of the women that we know in the space. When they go to events, they end up doing something, right? I was just saying that there are certain people that never do anything, but their partner does. And it's not wrong for me to be like, hey, that's a pattern. And I think that's really interesting. Because that's where it started last week. It didn't start with like, hey, I have this problem with all women who go to parties and don't play, or any men who goes to party and don't play. I was saying like, hey, there's 10 parties in a row where like he's fucking his brains out, or fucking people's brains out. And she's like, I'm not playing, I'm not playing, I'm not playing, I'm not playing, I'm not playing.
What if her kink is just watching her husband?
she might have that kink. She might have that kink, but like I just said that like I think it's interesting and I think it kind of throws the balance off. Because what it turned into was like, hey, maybe we should do a small group with these people. And it's like, well, I wouldn't go to a party with them because what am I gonna do? Like watch while we have a right not to play with him if we don't want to.
Sure.
I was just observing. I said, hey man, that's interesting. It kind of throws the balance off.
That's fine. That's fine. I have nothing else to say without repeating myself. And that's okay.
Yeah. What
are you drinking?
So I'm not drinking alcohol right now, and for dry January, but in general, I just go moments without drinking alcohol. So, but at night, I do want to drink something other than water. So I've been just trying beverages. This one's called Hio or Hio.
Wait, let me see.
You want to try it? Listen, people, we're not sponsored by this group. I've just been trying to drink something different. It's like an alcohol. It's not even alcohol. It's like ashwagandha and maybe some other stuff in there. But I've been liking it. It feels like slightly like overpriced sparkling water, but some of the options out there are like psilocybin based, ashwagandha based.
This is good actually.
It's good, right?
Yeah, it wasn't what I expected.
So at the end of the night, it's something that you can drink to wind down.
Why? So this is kind of like an alcohol replacement.
I guess so. I really didn't want to hand you anything with alcohol in it.
I appreciate that immensely.
You're welcome.
I was saying before this, I was like, why would you drink a non-alcoholic something when you could be drinking alcohol? And I'm like, oh, I'm just an alcoholic and I just can't help myself.
Well, look, I bought like 5 different versions of this on Amazon just to try it. And this is the one I'm drinking today. So Cute. I'll put links to it if people ever want to try this. I like this one the best of the 3 I've gotten this far.
How does it make you feel if you drink the whole thing?
It doesn't really I don't know if it makes me feel anything. I need to pay attention to it.
I want to feel something.
Right. So like it's interesting when people say they want to feel drunk but not drink alcohol. I don't really know how to accomplish that.
Ketamine?
like and it not be a drug. Like at some point the comments on Amazon for alcohol replacement drinks are hilarious. Anyway, So speaking of parties and not playing, you went to a party.
Yeah.
But it was one of the produced ones, right? It was like one of the big event groups that put on like these performative events where some people do play, some people don't, right? Mm-hmm. So you went, and I don't know if you actually did, but the goal was that you would take the girl that your husband is hanging out with right now. Mm-hmm. Is it his girl? Like, I don't know what else to call her.
Partner?
His partner.
Yeah.
All right, so you took her without him.
I did.
All right, what was that like?
So first I asked him if he wanted to go, and he was like, no, I don't really feel like going to a party. And I'm like, okay, like, can I ask if she wants to go? And so I asked her, and there was that other party going on in town too. And she was like, you know what? Yeah, like I'd love to go with you to this other party and like, hang out more.
So you took her to Mystery Temple, right?
Yeah. So I took her to Mystery Temple, and she's really sweet, super beautiful, really thoughtful. Like I surprised my husband with a little movie night for the 3 of us. And she came over and brought like popcorn and candy and just like very thoughtful. And I do like her, and I like her energy, and she's great for my husband. They get along really well, and I love that compersion all around, right? Uh-huh. I think she's got walls up, and I think that it's been really hard for me to break those walls, and I'm not sure if she's intimidated or if she's, more of a guy's girl or something.
She's got walls up in general or just with you?
I don't know. That I don't know. And so, I've been trying to kind of break some of those walls down. And it might just all be in my head, honestly, I'm not sure. And I've had difficulty doing that. So I was really excited to go to Mystery Temple with her. And we had a wonderful conversation like on the way up. And I got to tell her a little bit more about my story, which I thought was really great. We've spent primarily like most of our time together in my home with my kids downstairs. Like she's out of her element, meeting her new partner's wife. Like I'm sure it's really intimidating, And so I really enjoyed our conversation up there. I had, a really great time at the party. It was really great. And then we're, heading back, and it was her first time at Mystery Temple. I'm like, oh, like, what did you think? And she's like, oh, like I had a good time, and it was fun talking to so-and-so. And, it's an hour and a half drive home. And we get there, and Cody's awake still. It's super late. We order Taco Bell. Don't yell at me. We order Taco Bell, and I was like, I'm gonna take a shower.
Did you order through the app? Does Taco Bell have an app?
No, I did it through DoorDash. I have a Dash Pass.
Okay.
I'm a Dash Pass holder, so I'm just a regular person, just like you. And so she's kind of like shooting the shit, like a different kind of energy. I was jealous that Cody was getting the type of conversation that like I wasn't getting with her. So I felt jealous that Cody was getting her and I wasn't. Like he was able to break down her walls and I wasn't. And so like it made me feel insecure.
So she was saying stuff to you on the car ride home.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it just wasn't as like cutting or honest as what she gave to Cody.
It felt like a little bit of a wall, and that's fine. I'm going to keep spending time with her and I'm going to keep knocking that wall down. Do
you need for her to be as vulnerable with you as she is with him?
Do I need her to be? No, but it's definitely helpful because I think it makes me trust her more, right? And so like when they're off on dates or going out and about, and again, my husband is like, oh, if you don't, like, what don't you trust her about? Like, what could she possibly do? And I'm like, I can't even consider the worst case scenario, so I don't know why I feel like this. I don't know. So I think,
So, all right, look, unpack it. What's really going on here? He's had other relationships.
Yeah.
But those past ones, I think the woman actually spent time building a relationship with you too.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this person isn't doing the same thing that you've experienced from other people in the past.
I would say that she's going out of her way just as much as the other girls did, though. So that's where I feel guilty almost.
Like physically and time-wise, but just
Yes.
not emotionally.
Right. And there was a couple moments at the party where we were like, oh my God, can you believe that happened? Hee hee. We're like grabbing each other's hands and we're like, oh, la, la. And we had a couple of those moments, which is why I was like, okay, maybe I'm breaking some of these walls down. Like we can be friends or whatever. And then, the drive back was great. It was fine. And Cody asked me when I got home, I was like, yeah, we had a great time. I think that we're like connecting and I feel really good. And then I come out of the shower and I was like, this energy is not what I had experienced. And I'm jealous because I want that from her, for me.
But is she in relationship with him or?
Just with him.
Right. I'd almost expect that she would be different with you than with him.
You think so?
Well, yeah, she's got like a romantic and emotional interest with him that is different from her relationship with you. But maybe she looks at you as a friend and looks at him like as more. And isn't that what the situation is?
Yeah, no, it is. But I don't know. I just want to see her goofy side. And I want her to be able to call or text me and be like, oh my God, guess what? Because like that's how I was with Cammie and that's how I was with like other partners that Cody has had. And is that a requirement? No, it's not a requirement, but it definitely does make things easier. So
Right.
I have the opportunity to practice a different kind of relationship and dynamic that I maybe I don't have to be like besties with her, but I want to, but maybe she doesn't want to with me.
Yeah, or bring up what you want. I mean, I think there's an opportunity for you to say what you feel like you need in this situation. Absolutely. But I would also say, like, devil's advocate to this, that would feel like a lot of pressure. Yeah. Like, I know if there's a couple and I was going to start dating the wife, to also have the pressure to be like best friends with the husband might feel like a lot to me. Now I have two relationships to maintain.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's what they're feeling. Is this their first time?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
They're newer to lifestyle just within the last 9 months.
Yeah.
Because the party I took her to was only her second play party ever.
Yeah. So then she probably has no idea.
Yeah, because we were having conversations, which was, were good conversations. When I'm, coming back out of the shower and they're like having their thing, I'm like trying to get back in the convo. I'm like, hey, like, what are you guys talking about? Let me squeeze in here real quick, And she is newer, and I'm giving her grace. There's no resentment. There's no anything other than like almost like I just want to know her better, and I have to give her space to give as much of herself as she wants to me.
So what's your plan? How are you going to approach it from here? And I'm just also curious, like, if you don't get this from her, are you okay with that?
Yeah. I want to
Sounds like a yeah with like 3 question marks behind it.
I want to be okay with it. Mm-hmm. And I think that I can practice being okay with it. Because bless my husband's heart, like I'm expressing to him, like I'm, feeling a little uncomfortable, and whether that's trust or whatever. And he's all, what do I need to do? Do I need to talk to her? Like, do I need to like not see her, and like what do I need to do? And I'm like, that is so sweet of you to be like, how can I make you, my wife, feel better? But that's codependent. And I don't want you to try to make me feel better. Just allow me the space to feel this. Because again, since I've been off my SSRIs, I've never really felt jealousy. And so a part of me is like, is this what jealousy feels like?
Does this whole thing feel kind of kinky for you?
No.
So I know you've been exploring your kinks at all. Is there any part of this, like the emotions you're feeling around this, that is exciting to you? Getting to know her, trying to crack because you like projects and cracking mysteries.
No, not in this one.
Not in this situation.
No, I like power dynamics, and this doesn't feel like that.
Because it doesn't feel like anyone's in a position of power here.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll get better. I think I just need to be honest with her about like where I'm coming from and how I'm feeling. And then at least I've like expressed my truth, so I'm not like keeping something from her, because it is something that, has been bothering me to a certain extent. But I do recognize that it's my own problem. It's my own, I don't know if it's fears or anxieties or just the unknowing. But I just have to walk through it, and I'm available to do that.
Yeah. Can I tell you what I think?
Yes, please.
I think that even though you want him to have his partner, you really want someone to be a partner with both of you. And like what I'm hearing is there's this underlying, like, you want, hey, like, she's in relationship with him, but you do want her to have a certain relationship with you. And I don't think that all poly relationships are like that, but that is your brand of it and how you like it. And you've had this in the past with other people, so it's kind of like normal for you for it to be that way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she's been in enough relationships to know if that's her path or not. So I'm curious if like he really vibes with someone, but they don't really want that relationship with you. Is that something that you can adjust to, or do you think you might find out of this that's a hard line for you?
I don't think it's a hard line. I can appreciate that concept, and I can also like appreciate that there's a lot of growth that comes in being uncomfortable. And I think this is just going to be one of those things. Is my best case scenario to be besties with my metas? Yeah, like of course, that's super fun. But I don't have to have my best case scenario.
Yeah.
I just want it.
You just want it.
Just let me have it. Just be my best friend.
How are things going with your boyfriend?
Okay, so we can't call him my boyfriend.
Oh man, sorry. Was it Doug? No, what are we calling him?
Clyde.
Clyde, thank you.
Like
Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes, Clyde. How are things going with Clyde? Your non-boyfriend Clyde.
My non-boyfriend Clyde. It's going well. It's like going really, really well. We had like a hotel date, and it was fantastic. And he's been traveling the country for what he does, and sending me little videos, and like, he does music, and so he'll like send me some like music and be like, what do you think? And so that's been really fun. And yeah, we were texting like on our way up here, and I actually haven't seen him in probably 2 weeks.
That's what I would have thought, because he's on the road.
Right.
When will you see him again?
I think he's on the East Coast right now. Hopefully by like next week, I imagine.
It's so cold out there. Yeah, he'll want you to warm him up.
Yeah.
All right. So before we wrap this up, so I'm glad that's going well. The couple things I want to catch up on before we wrap up. So we've had stories progressing that I want to touch on.
Wait, are you going to talk about the gym couple?
I am going to talk about the gym couple.
Okay, good.
But before we do that,
Okay.
Your gangbang.
Yes.
Your gangbang. So we've already picked a date. We've already texted some guys. I think you got like a 6 out of 6 or 7 out of 7 that said yes. All right. What we said we would do next time, which is now, is contact some fluffers.
Yep.
So do we have a few fluffers in mind? Cool. So are you going to text them all right now?
Okay.
That was the whole thing, was to
I know,
text
I'm just
was
so
to text
scared.
them.
I'm so
Pull
scared.
my phone out right now. Ooh.
Ooh.
Progress. This is gonna happen.
I'm so
This is gonna
excited.
happen. All right. The gym couple. All right. So we hadn't, because of the fires, we hadn't seen them at the gym for a couple weeks. We just saw them, and we're setting up another time to go out with them, another date. I think it's gonna be this upcoming Sunday. So I'll update people after that with what's happening with this gym couple. I have noticed that she looks at me a lot more in the gym now. I'm not just saying that. Like I'll kind of do a rep, and I'll kind of look around, and like she's been kind of watching as I'm getting ready for my reps. My wife's noticed too. She does look out for this. So it has brought up this fantasy my wife's had for a while where she wants to bring a friend of ours to the gym to kind of be overly flirty with me in front of people to see how people react. And so we do have a friend from the friend group who also has a membership at our gym who is down to do this. So at some point between now and the next couple episodes, we're going to do a gym date with myself, my wife, and this friend and be overly flirty with each other at the gym to kind of make people feel a little awkward.
And
Just
then
to see
that
their
other
reactions.
couple will see that this other girl is touching you, and that almost gives them permission. Like, oh, like, might I be allowed to touch?
Hopefully that kind of like, normalizes it a bit and pushes it in the right direction. So I'm excited about that. So we started a group chat today actually to set up like what day we're gonna go to the gym to do this. And yeah, I'm kind of excited. Like I don't think we're not gonna like. No one's gonna give me like a hand job in the gym. Like it's not gonna
You
go.
never know.
It's not gonna get.
Me and my ex-girlfriend, we had sex at the Wii Spa.
And that is a story we're gonna save for next time.
You got it.
That is a story we're gonna save for next time. Layla, it's so good to see you in person again.
I'm so happy to see you.
It's been a minute. Next time we come back for an episode, we're actually gonna have someone come in and talk about STIs at a higher level. Yeah. We've had a lot of questions come up about them, especially since last year. And that's when Jackie was on the episode. Jackie's coming back. And we're excited to have her answer questions about STIs. So if you have some, send them over so we can have an expert answer them for you. And then, it's a new year, so we have a bunch of new shit coming out.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year. I can't wait. Gonorrhea is going around. You guys get tested.
And we're going to save that for next week. So thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for tuning in today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until we see you next time. Try something or try someone new.